The rise and fall of Quiznos is a fascinating journey through the world of fast food. Once celebrated for its toasted subs and unique flavor offerings, Quiznos soared to popularity in the early 2000s, only to experience a dramatic decline in subsequent years. In this video, we will uncover the intriguing story behind Quiznos' ascent to fame and the missteps and challenges that ultimately led to its decline. Before we explore the fascinating Quiznos, smash that subscribe button and ring the notification bell. Quiznos stood as one of the industry's most rapidly expanding restaurant chains. By 2007, their presence had surged to a staggering 5,000 locations. However, fast forward to 2019, their footprint had dwindled significantly, with less than 1,000 outlets remaining. Their financial woes culminated in a 2014 bankruptcy filing despite a previous attempt at debt refinancing. In vibrant Denver in 1978, a small Italian eatery named Footers burst into the culinary scene. Jimmy Lambatos and Todd Disner opened an Italian Footers restaurant in Denver. Later, they decided to venture into creating an Italian-style deli. However, they didn't rush into it. Instead, they used their resources at Footers to develop new recipes and prepare meticulously for their next culinary endeavor. Their dedication and patience were about to lead to the creation of a new Italian-style deli that would leave a lasting impact on Denver's food scene. As for those distinctive baguette creations, they hold a pivotal role in the success story of their restaurant. In 1981, the founders embarked on a culinary odyssey, meticulously planning and perfecting these special baguette delicacies. When they finally opened Quiznos, their Italian deli, it quickly became a sensation, thanks in no small part to these delectable creations. Two seasoned restaurateurs with a well-thought-out vision were at the helm of this venture. However, perhaps the most significant factor contributing to their initial success was the innovative practice of toasting their sandwiches. This approach enhanced the meats and bread flavors, creating that irresistible melty cheese. Quiznos was a pioneer in the world of toasting sandwiches. Quiznos wasn't precisely a high-end Italian restaurant and didn't fit the mold of your ordinary fast food joint. It aimed to cater to those looking for something in between. By 1991, the chain had grown to encompass 18 mostly franchised locations in Denver. At this point, the original owners opted to transfer ownership to two individuals bearing the name Rick Shadden. This dynamic duo consisted of a father and son, with the son playing a more prominent role in their business endeavors. Their primary focus revolved around the ambitious goal of expanding their enterprise. They had nearly doubled to 40 branches at the end of 1993, and this time dispersed throughout a few significant states in the nation. They kicked the growth strategy into high gear in 1994. At the start of the year, they held an initial public offering that generated almost $4 million, nearly all used to open new sites. Based on the data, despite the original predictions that all sandwich sales would add $5, the sales and location graphs both reveal a sharp rise in revenue. Take note that Quiznos employed a franchise system. Take 1996 as an example. They had 156 restaurants and generated about $7.5 million. Only 9 of those 156 establishments had been owned by the corporation, while the remaining 147 were independent. Of the $7.5 million, 21% came from royalty fees or 6% of sales and 16% from initial franchising fees, typically $20,000 per new franchise. The high number of new franchises significantly boosted this total. In 2001, the company underwent another privatization. Those who had previously held ownership before the 1994 public offering returned to the helm, reigniting the expansion efforts. By 2003, the company had successfully doubled its number of locations, reaching 2,000. This rapid growth trend persisted, as by 2007, the number of areas had once again more than doubled, surging to an impressive 5,000. Numerous factors can be attributed to the company's decline, but perhaps one of the most significant issues was their approach to managing the franchising model. There are several aspects to this issue. It seems that Quiznos may not prioritize the well being of their franchisees, and franchisees often find themselves constrained by the strict rules imposed by the company. For instance, franchisees are not allowed to source their bread. They must use the bread designated by Quiznos. Understandably, Quiznos wants to maintain a consistent level of quality and uphold its brand reputation. Ensuring all franchise locations adhere to the same standards and use prescribed ingredients helps maintain uniformity and brand consistency. In theory, this alignment of interests between Quiznos and their franchisees should not pose a significant issue. Given that Quiznos relies on the profitability of their franchisees, it's in their best interest to ensure that franchisees are content. Implementing unreasonable demands, such as forcing franchisees to purchase tomatoes at exorbitant prices, would be imprudent. While it's true that there were issues, it's important to note that the actual situation was not as extreme as this exaggerated example. In 2000, Quiznos established a subsidiary known as American Food Distributors and mandated that all franchisees exclusively source their food and paper products through this distributor. As time passed, this distributor, owned by Quiznos itself, began imposing exorbitant prices for these essential supplies, causing significant financial strain on the franchisees. Numerous claims suggests that the cost of Quiznos distributors were considerably higher than the industry average. As a result, Quiznos began to see a substantial increase in revenue from this distributor, surpassing the income generated from restaurant royalties. It appears that Quiznos may have exploited the people they were meant to collaborate with, making it highly challenging for the franchisees to achieve profitability. This situation led to many lawsuits, highlighting the contentious nature of these business practices. The primary case was resolved in 2009. However, when franchisees struggled to profit, their discontent often resulted in poorly managed locations. In some instances, franchisees ceased operations altogether, compelling Quiznos to seek new individuals to take over these locations. It's worth noting that not all were necessarily the best suited individuals for the job. The rapid expansion of Quiznos, with a massive push to open hundreds or even thousands of locations within a year, likely meant that the selection process for finding people to run these locations may not have been as rigorous as it should have been. Quiznos acknowledged that such rapid growth compelled them to select individuals with limited or no relevant experience, ultimately resulting in a decline in sales and negatively impacting their brand. This situation illustrates a snowball effect, where one problem leads to another, creating a cascading impact on the company. Initially, many of these franchises were not the most suitable candidates, and on top of that, they were being asked to pay exorbitant amounts for their supplies. It's no surprise that many of them chose to quit. Consequently, Quiznos found themselves in a situation where they needed to recruit even more people to run their franchises. By this point, the negative reputation of the brand, coupled with the ongoing lawsuits, had spread throughout the industry. As a result, Quiznos was compelled to make further settlements or close down more locations. As you decrease the number of sites and overall scale down your business, there's less budget available for activities such as advertising. This reduction in advertising expenditure can lead to a decline in sales at existing locations, further exacerbating dissatisfaction of the franchisees. Do you see how the situation is deteriorating? It is how a business can go from having 5,000 locations to just 800 sites in a little over a decade. It's plausible to theorize that the seemingly dominant force with 5,000 locations in 2007 may not have been as robust as it appeared. This could be considered one of the significant challenges, among others. The economic downturn during some of their most challenging years exacerbated their troubles. When you consider the fierce competition in the sandwich market, it becomes apparent that these factors compounded their difficulties. They have to contend with giants like Subway and face relentless competition from smaller chains such as Johnny Rockets, all vying for a slice of the market share pie. Speaking of Subway, in 2004, they introduced the option to toast your sandwich, and that innovation essentially nullified one of Quiznos' major competitive advantages. It's a pretty precarious situation when your rivals can effortlessly imitate the defining feature you've been renowned for. In 2006, Quiznos underwent a leveraged buyout deal that granted a private equity firm a 49% stake in the company. Unfortunately, this move also burdened Quiznos with an additional debt of around $900 million. This heavy debt load ultimately led to an out-of-court debt settlement in 2012, followed by a more conventional bankruptcy filing in 2014. In 2018, Quiznos underwent another ownership change, this time being acquired by High Bluff Capital Partners. There seems to be optimism surrounding the possibility of a turnaround under this new ownership. They believe in the potential of Quiznos' brand recognition and see a niche for the company in the market. However, the future remains uncertain, and only time will tell if Quiznos can successfully reclaim its position in the industry. In 2023, Quiznos is strategizing for a significant comeback, and it appears that an unexpected element of their revival plan involves the Sponge Monkeys. Looking ahead to the possibility of Quiznos' resurgence reminds us that even once fading stars in the industry can find a path back to success with the right vision and strategies. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.